just going to jump right into it. We don't even have time for an intro because there's too much going on.
Well, I'm Matt, and you're Gideon. This is interesting times. We've done it. Okay, now let's go.
But
I got you.
All right. Well, you did it. You did it quickly, at least.
Yes.
You pulled the Band-Aid off.
Yes.
That was painful, but at least it's done.
It's a better way to do it.
So I remember at the end of the last show, I was like, maybe by the time we do our next show, Joe will drop out. And I've been very wrong on a lot of things lately, but that one I was kind of prescient maybe a bit. Although it's not hard to imagine that he was going to drop out.
No. And he did. And I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's clear that it was the right thing. And he made that speech last night basically talking about his decision and saving democracy, and he was a little shaky even during that speech. So
yeah,
it's like 100% that it was the right thing, and I think the polls have tightened, so maybe they can win now.
It's good. Yeah. Well, here's my question for you: do you think Biden's poll numbers will go up?
That's funny. I don't know.
Okay. Well. All right, I'm going to tell you why, because I predicted, I thought like you, that he would drop out by the end of the month, okay? So I placed a bet saying that basically that Biden's poll numbers would go up.
Oh.
And so they're inching, but they need to go up a point, and then I'll win. And if they go up 2 points,
is this for Predict, one of those like websites, or with another person?
No, it's a prediction website.
What's the bet? So it's basically just that it will go up by a certain day?
It's like, by the end of the month, how high will Biden's poll numbers get?
Oh, funny.
There was 38%, which it's reached, so those people won. And then there's 39, 40, 41, yeah.
And will they still take polls of Biden? Maybe they'll void the bet because
right. No, they haven't, and they will because he's still president. But also they take polls of past presidents too, and I was betting on the fact that people will like him for stepping down, and then he'll be a former president, and people almost always like former presidents unless it's
like Carter.
Carter
is a really highly rated former president, right?
He was very low rated, but even Bush is rated well now too. The first Bush was well rated. No, I'm talking about the second. He was not well remembered for a while, but I think he's decently popular again, I think.
Right. Well, I think you're going to win the bet because I actually think Biden's going to go out on the campaign trail. He's going to actually really.
I don't know if
helpful.
I have enough time, but I think it's going to go up. Part of the reason I bet it too was the odds were so lopsided. I was like, there's money to be made here. People aren't thinking.
Ooh, I hope you win.
I hope so. We'll see.
Keep us posted.
I certainly will.
And that's the most important thing for us to be talking about.
Well, the reason we're
Screw
here
democracy.
It's money. We're about money.
And it's about
here.
your money.
Well, it's your money too. I want you to do well.
So,
and our audience.
So let's see. So what do you think? What's going to happen? So Kamala, you think she has a chance?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's locked up.
Do you think she's going to win it outright? It's just going to.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant the nomination.
No, I think she'll get the nomination, but there could be a surprise.
Yeah, there was some article that the headline was like, Kamala may not win or something. It's not done yet, and then you read it, it's like, well, technically, it's not done. It was just anyway.
It's like a few days away. They're going to do a vote,
right? And everybody has confirmed it, right?
And has Obama officially endorsed her? I know he was like one of the last people who hasn't.
He, as far as I read yesterday, he has not.
Okay. And I guess you just have to kind of be careful a little bit before the vote happens.
I guess so. Who knows?
But do you think maybe he doesn't like her? No.
I doubt that.
Yeah.
I don't see why that would be the case. I was reading something about people criticizing Obama because he was the one who got Biden to step down when Hillary was running.
Right.
And he did it again now.
Right.
I don't know. I mean,
maybe you should bet on his approval going down.
I don't know if that's Obama's?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Interesting. Hey, no, I'm like ready to do it, Gideon.
Yeah. You're addicted.
I never bet on sports or anything.
I actually do a bit. It's actually really addicting.
Yeah,
but I've been fairly good fairly disciplined. But betting on tennis is really fun. Because you can do it in the middle of a game. So if there's a really high-ranked player that happens to be losing the first set, the odds can move into your favor, and then you could be like, there's no way this great, like Djokovic, if he lost the first set, you're going to be like, he's going to win this.
Right.
Ultimately.
I see.
But if you bet too much and then he does lose it, then it's like disappointing. So you just have to bet like $10 or $5 at a time.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I read about somebody, I think they were betting on a sports game, and he was betting on the team that had very high odds to win, and he bet millions of dollars.
Oh my God. Oh wow.
And he wouldn't have won that much money either. So it was just like, ugh.
Right. Well, that does seem like the strategy, to bet a lot of money on the favorites and a small amount of money on the underdogs, and then you hope.
Yeah, I rarely do any bet on. I mean, I rarely do this in general, but bet on a favorite because it just feels like not that exciting.
Well, you look at the odds, but I hear you. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess there's going to be some sort of vice president, running mate type person, and
who are you thinking? I guess there's the Pennsylvania governor.
Shapiro.
Shapiro, yes.
And then there's Roy Cooper of North Dakota, and Mark Kelly, not North Dakota, North Carolina. And then
I haven't heard him mentioned. Okay.
Yeah, actually, because that's sort of like could be a Democratic state. Like Biden lost it by like 1 point in the last election, and it was his smallest margin of defeat, you know.
And it went for Obama in 2008.
I think you're right. I think it did. So actually, and Cooper he's done with his second term, so he's not running again.
Okay.
So he could be good, and he's popular. He seems pretty charming. But Mark Kelly, Mark Kelly and his wife is Gabby Giffords.
Right, the Arizona senator he is. Yeah,
exactly.
And former astronaut, yeah.
Exactly. And he's apparently Kamala and her husband Doug are close with them. Oh. So, and that does make sense too, Arizona. Although you could say that like the Democrats maybe don't have a chance of winning Arizona, but maybe with Kelly they would.
I mean, they won last time. Biden won Arizona.
But it seems to be getting kind of redder and redder, but maybe not.
Yeah, it does. I mean, he's very far down in the polls right now, I think, there. But I thought it was getting bluer and bluer just with Phoenix growing so quickly.
True.
And you have a city, so I don't know.
And also they say Kelly would be a good choice because he's a little tougher on border stuff, so it would make her, would even her out a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know how important that is, but
it's very important to some people. The border thing.
Yeah.
I've never quite gotten why it's so important, other than racism. But I'm also like, absolutely yes, we should have a strong border policy. I'm not against that.
I think there's a way to like have a reasonable policy without the race baiting. I think always it's fine to discuss it and to be like, yeah, maybe having like thousands and thousands of people come across every minute isn't a great thing.
Right, because it is a problem to integrate people that quickly.
And resources, too. I mean, I do think it's fair to say, like, there's only a limited amount of resources. But, when it becomes the number one issue and it's so, like, so racist and xenophobic, it's just ugly as hell.
Well, because there is a limited amount of resources to begin with, but that's the whole thing. We can have more immigration because the pie grows. It's not as if they're taking something. But that time of like everybody coming to New York at once, and you just don't have places to put people and figuring out jobs for people. It's ridiculous. Because I remember back in 2011, there was a bipartisan bill, an immigration bill, and then I guess it was the Tea Party who torpedoed it. But it was this bill. It was going to strengthen border security, and it was going to give people who were already here a path to citizenship.
Right.
And it was just that everybody was on board because the idea of just deporting people who have been here for however long, who are part of society and have jobs and families. And that's why Trump's whole idea of this mass deportation thing, it's horrifying on a human level, and more than that, but it's also economically, it could be disastrous.
Yeah, well, that's the best point, because they're complete hypocrites. Because if you care about money and you're kind of like, we're getting screwed because there's all this money going to these people, but then you spend like billions of dollars to like deport people. That's like spending way more money than if these people became citizens and like got jobs and started paying taxes.
Well, that's the whole thing especially about people who are here and have been here. Like
the dreamers.
Who maybe aren't citizens even, but they're a net benefit to the country because, well, beyond just that they're, powering the economy, but they're also paying taxes and not getting benefits.
Absolutely. And it's just a pathway, a pathway, that's the word everybody uses. It's just a pathway to have some sort of legislation, because you can't just deport everybody. You have to be like, all right, these are the people who stay. They've been here forever. They're productive citizens.
Exactly.
I mean, productive, in there, like they're working and they have families and they haven't committed crimes. And then if somebody has come in the last 2 years, maybe those people have to go because it's just they haven't put down roots, and it just like the Republicans just don't want any amnesty. So there has to be some sort of compromise where the Republicans are like, all right, the dreamers and the people who have been here a certain amount of time stay, and you live in a border state, so I'm sure
it's so odd how people call it like how it is a border state, but how it's just Texas freaking out about it and California isn't. I'm not really sure why, because it doesn't. I mean, we're close to the border, but Well, big news about California. Did you see this on the front page of the Times? Is that Newsom has taken the Supreme Court's ruling on moving homeless encampments, and said that he's going to recommend to all localities in California to remove homeless encampments, and it's a contentious issue.
What did the Supreme Court say?
Basically that people didn't have a right to just camp on public property, I guess. Yeah,
that's interesting. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess once the Supreme Court rules...
I think Newsom before this was pushing for the Supreme Court to take up the case. It's a complicated thing. I just hope it's done in the right way. But it does seem like something needs to happen to move people into housing. And to get people with especially with mental health problems off the street and into care, even if a lot of civil liberties people makes them really mad, and I get their fear because it could be awful, and it used to be awful, I think, is the thing, back in the 70s and before, but and then Reagan stopped it, but anyway, I just think it's also wrong not to help people and not to step in when somebody can't look out for themselves. But it just has to be. There has to be oversight. It has to be.
There should be a policy, not just
good
like
care. But let's not just say like, oh, we can't do it because it'll be horrible. These mental institutions. I mean, there's so many more drugs than there used to be. There's so many more ways to get people towards health. It's just anyway.
Totally, and you have to think that Newsom, part of his decision is political, because I do think there's this stereotype of Western Democrat, Western cities with Democratic mayors and Democratic governors, that they're just like complete chaos with like the homeless everywhere and crime everywhere. That's kind of the way the Republicans try to paint, like the governors of these states and the mayors of these places like Seattle and Portland and San Francisco
and New York
and New York LA, for sure. But somehow the Western and I'm sure it's completely unfair, but I think for anybody who has political aspirations like Newsom, he's probably like, this is a way for me to like unsully myself and wash my hands.
But it's also like they're going to say that no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it could be political, but I also think a lot of people in the state are like, hey, this is ridiculous. Like this isn't good for anyone.
Right.
I mean,
right.
And where it's. When I first moved out here, seeing these encampments, too, it was just like nothing. I mean, it was sort of like the 80s in New York as a kid, seeing a lot of homeless people, like when you go into the city or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it was even crazier because you have all these tents. I was like, what?
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, the weather's better, too. That's probably part of it.
That's true, but I read that 75% of the people are basically right where they, were living beforehand.
Wow.
And I think, they got priced out of their apartments. I mean, that's a big thing we need to work on is to stamp down these
housing is
that are keeping from housing being built. I mean, that is the core of the problem, I think. Yeah.
The governor in New York has tried to do some bill where their towns or cities had to build affordable housing near a certain radius near a train station, and it just failed pretty badly. But I think over the next few years it is going to happen. It is a huge, horrible thing that people have to spend so much money just to live. It's like healthcare. It's the new healthcare. It is. Yeah.
And the thing about affordable housing is that a lot of the people that are getting in, they're like blue collar workers. It's not like, it costs nothing. It still is. It's a lot. It's significantly cheaper, but it's not. You need to be a working person to be in these places. Yeah. But I also feel like, look, if people are so freaking out about affordable housing, then just build housing. Just force people to build housing because that will also help, create affordable housing as there. Anyway, there you go.
Well, there's so many, look at Donald Trump as, the prototypical, real estate guy, and that probably isn't fair. Well, his father, for sure, but, there's this idea that, there are regulations, and when you work, some people build a building, and the government is telling you have to put, 10% of the apartments need to be affordable or rent stabilized, and then they'll just build it, and it'll all be luxury, and then the government will be like, what the hell? And the realtor will be like, oh, well. And then the government will be, oh, well. And then it just goes away. I think realtors, just realtors, the people who build buildings, development and, real estate tycoons, I think, they can kind of ignore certain regulations and get away with it. Yeah. So it's kind of depressing. They have to, clamp down. But.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Should we talk about who's going to be VP then? We talked a little bit about that. The Kentucky guy. I've heard good things about him.
Bashir is good. And then there's Waltz, too, who is the Minnesota governor. And he was pretty great. He's been doing some media. But Waltz's name, what was the name of the guy Hillary chose as VP?
Christoph Waltz.
No.
Imagine,
he would be great
as a VP.
Yeah, although he probably isn't eligible to be. Can you be a foreigner and be VP?
I don't think so. Unless he was born here.
Yeah. So anyway, he was good. He was kind of like, these people are weird, and he was, He was like, because J.D. Vance had that line. He was like, the Democratic Party is run by childless cat ladies, which is such a weird thing to villainize people without kids and people who like animals. It's 90% of the country. And Waltz, when he was interviewed, was just look on TikTok and see how angry people are with him saying that. And J.D. Vance is apparently a huge disappointment. People are already saying Donald Trump might dump him and go for some. Yeah, people are there was some article that was I hope he kept the receipts, because he is buyer's remorse.
Well, what a stupid thing to say, too, because I don't even, how much benefit does that give you with your base? Maybe some. Let's make fun of women. Oh, we love that, right?
And Kamala is a woman.
It's just going to charge up all those female voters, which, are the things that power Democrats, over the finish line. Yeah, what an idiot. So why are people saying they don't like Vance? I mean, not Dems.
I think he's just useless. He just has no charisma, and I think he just seems like he doesn't add anything. And I also think because Biden stepped out, and Kamala is getting so much excitement, I think Vance looks even more boring next to her.
Yeah,
she's kind of fun and exciting.
There was this op-ed piece in the Wall Street Journal, I think yesterday, and the author was just saying that the whole thing was planned. That
funny.
Biden planned it. Kamala was in on it. The Democrats all knew.
Oh, my
and they
God.
carried out this plan
hilarious.
to screw things up. I mean, and this was a guy, I think he's like an employee there. Maybe he's one of their...
But that's a Rupert Murdoch.
Like in charge of their... I know, but still, it's the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like they are really...
Was this an editorial? I mean, the editorial is different from the news.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, wait, I have it up here still. Matthew Hennessy, and it says he is... where is it? It's up here, maybe. He's the Journal's deputy editorial features editor.
Oh, editorial. So the editorials, they're crazy. It's weird because the news on the Wall Street Journal is very reputable, but the editorial has pretty much gone off the deep end, although they have been critical of Trump.
Yeah,
but
to a conspiracy theory like this, I was surprised to see. Especially, it's not like an outside person; it's like someone who actually works there.
That's funny.
It's like,
and also, it wouldn't have it was such a painful process. It would definitely wouldn't have been that painful if it had been planned. They would have it would have happened sooner. And I don't know. The debate wouldn't have been that bad. I don't know.
But exactly. I mean, it's also one of those things where too many people would know. You can't keep that kind of thing secret, I don't think. I don't think so.
The one thing that I said a few weeks ago, and I think other people I've heard say, is that this idea of that they did plan that debate early so that if Biden was in trouble, we would at least know it early enough to make a change. So that's a slight conspiracy. And I think that's feasible.
I mean, honestly, if the Dems did do this on purpose, that's hilarious.
It's brilliant.
Kind of awesome.
Yeah.
But I find that very hard to believe.
I know.
Anyway.
He's just trying to make it so that Biden's ratings go down so that you don't win the bet, I'm sure.
Oh, man.
Don't you think? That damn Hennessy of the Wall Street Journal?
I know. Well, if Republicans hate him even more now, that'll screw me.
So we'll see what happens. I guess they take a vote August 1st because she needs to be officially the candidate before she can choose a VP. And then we'll find out after August 1st who the VP is, who the running mate is.
Wait, but so it's not, she's not officially crowned then?
I think the delegates have a vote. I guess it's not at the convention, interestingly enough. I guess they're doing it via Zoom or whatever.
Yeah.
Or just on the computer. So she'll be officially the can, and they say that enough delegates have committed to Kamala Harris. So she'll definitely be the candidate unless something crazy happens.
And so people are excited about her. Yeah.
People are really excited, and I think rightfully so. I have not, there were doubters when Biden was picking his running mate, and I always thought she would be a great choice. I was super happy he picked her, and I think she's now 4 years later. She's just great. She's cool.
She's so good. I mean,
she has a Jewish husband, which
even better.
That can't hurt.
I mean, it can't. I mean, it's a good thing. But I was concerned about the sexism, and I think it's still going to be there. Because, the sexism just exists on the Democratic side, too, and amongst women.
I know.
Too.
Well, they're making fun of her laugh, and that's pretty, sexist. They did that with Hillary.
Right. Well, the Republicans are always going to be sexist, right? Or, a large number of them.
Right. How are the Democrats being sexist?
Well, I just think, you talk to people, they say they don't like her, and it's why, and they give the answers that lead back to okay, it's sexism. Just it's the same stuff where she doesn't seem that genuine, or I think she's kind of extreme though, isn't she?
Right,
or
stuff
angry. Stuff like that. But here's the thing, I think she's really owning the moment. I think
she's ready.
I think she's risen to the challenge, and I'm very happy. Yeah.
Now, what do you think about a Gretchen Whitmer running mate? Because I posted I thought that would get people really excited, but people are like, no, it's too risky. Probably too risky, but...
Why? Because another woman?
I just think with two women, people would go bananas.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But honestly, wouldn't that be great? That would get me excited.
I think everyone and the Republicans would go berserk, but I think a lot of women Republicans would probably be excited, maybe secretly.
Yeah.
Hiding it.
I don't know. It's an interesting choice.
I think it could be pretty amazing, but I guess it won't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it really, I think, just has to come down to who's going to win a swing state, and maybe that's Gretchen Whitmer. That might be she might be the right choice. I mean, from what I've seen of her, she seems great.
I think she's pretty cool. Yeah, and she was really strong, especially even after that like crazy plot to kidnap her. Like, she's badass. She's pretty good.
Yeah, totally.
Well, we'll see. Time will tell. There's so much exciting stuff coming down the pike, and then the they must be rewriting that whole convention now.
I guess so. No, well, they had it written all beforehand.
Gideon. Oh, because they planned it. Hennessy's right, and you're going to lose that bet because of them. Because that's what this show is about. We need to get you paid. We need your parlay to win. So you get
I think I'm gonna lose. I think I'm gonna lose on the big bet.
I can't imagine
the more, and that'll even me out, so I won't lose any money.
Speaking of conspiracies, people are saying Biden has Parkinson's. So if he announced that, then his rating will go up. So
yeah, but then would he be forced to step down? You think?
Oh, as president, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
but even if he's forced to step down, that might help Kamala Harris.
Well, it's just I don't have much time. I don't have time on my side. I have a week.
When does can you announce what happened after the for our next show?
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm wishing you the best luck. The nation,
thank you,
is the nation is watching you and your bet, and they hope.
I hope they're with me.
They hope you win. They hope Biden goes up a couple of points, so that you can make your $7.
That'd be wonderful.
I agree.
Okay.
Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure. So much crazy shit. So much interesting shit. There you go. Indeed. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the week and weekend.